Now, I've been here for about, say, a year and 7 months, and there's some things that I noticed, primarily growing up in America, that I think may shock people. The first one, ordering something, eating, and then paying. Now, this might seem silly, but in America, this usually only happens at restaurants where you come in, you sit down, the person serves you, you eat, and then the bill comes a little bit later. But here, this is everywhere. Coffee shops, bakeries. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it in the sense of maybe it's people trust each other a little bit more here. It's a smaller country, smaller community, but I would say in America, you make sure you get the food and then you pay right away, because we don't trust nobody in America. We got trust issues. So if you're coming here, just keep that in mind. So number 2 on my list of things that shocked me as a person that mainly grew up in America is the portion sizes. This might not seem like a big deal. Everybody's got their own normal. I would say no, they don't have super size me here, for options. So for example, you got these little cups, right? People show up to parties, they might get, a 2-liter of soda. You go around and this might seem ridiculous to my Israeli friends. Like I'm explaining something super normal to them. So everybody gets a little cup, not a solo cup. Americans, we're used to the solo cup. I think it's like, maybe 12 ounces or 16 ounce cups. Now that's huge here. Even if you're hella thirsty, it don't matter if you're out playing soccer. It don't matter if you're with a bunch of friends. They give you this little kid cup. It was weird because I'm like, okay, I drink it right away and I'm like, give me more. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe there's some sort of wisdom to this. Like you take the little cup, you drink it, and maybe you savor it more. I'm not trying to like overanalyze every little thing. I think Americans objectively are just fat. So if somebody hands you this little cup, this little kid cup, don't take it as an insult. My Americans, this is a normal cup. This is a normal size, so just drink it slowly and then ask for more, because I know you want more. For the rest of the normal world where you're not obese and fat like Americans, this is not going to be an issue. So the third on the list, I would say this one's a little bit harder to explain, but I would say that Israelis care what other people think more than Americans. I think it's because of the size of the country. I believe roughly 10 million people live in Israel. So it's not a huge country, but it's also fairly small. So for example, I'll give you an example. A really popular show here is Big Brother. Yes, Big Brother, where, you have these contestants and they live in a house, and it's, just typical reality show stuff, but it's huge here, which is just hilarious. That's another thing that you can add to the list. Very random show to be huge here. They live in the house. You got men and women there, and there's no hooking up, nothing like that. My cousin said ever on that show, which is like very odd for an American reality show, because people are hooking up. It don't matter. They don't care. My cousin was saying like here, it's like a big scandal. Like it would be a big deal. You don't want to do that and, embarrass your family, look bad and face people and stuff like that. Maybe Israelis can comment down below and let me know if I'm on point on that, which I think is a good thing. Let's not get it twisted. This is no judgment. I actually think we need more of that in America, because America's huge. So people just, they do whatever. They go on these crazy podcasts. They just say they don't care. So the fourth thing that surprised me, and this might be a shock to a lot of people that group Israelis, even God forbid Jewish people, which is very stupid, into one box and think they all think the same. Israelis are extremely divided. Like many democracies, you got the right, you got the left, you got the far right, you got the far left, you got everything in between. Then you got the Arab political parties, and not even necessarily split as far as politics. You got this hierarchy also involved in it, which is like, when did you make Aliyah? What wave of immigration were you in? Are you a Mizrahi? Are you a Ashkenaz? Are you an Ethiopian? There's all of these different type of ways to divide yourself, even within Israel, even though it's so small, because of the war and people lose people. I think it creates a little bit of that division of how you view the world. It's funny, you got Americans saying, Israel thinks this, Israel's doing that, and they assume that Netanyahu and the upper brash and the government are all on board with what the Shin Bet and the Mossad want to do, and all on board with what the population wants. And on every single level, there is opinions, there's differences. You got to remember, a lot of the Jewish people, they came here from different areas of the world. They were Jewish communities that were all brought together. So they have different outlooks, different ways of viewing the world. And you may be very, very surprised with the things that come out of Israelis' mouths. So the fifth topic, I would say, is the Shabbat, the Sabbath. And one of the things that I observed, and it's a specific part of the Sabbath that's very fascinating to me. So generally speaking, how strictly you keep the Sabbath here is a reflection of how religious you are. For the Sabbath, I did no phone. It's like, okay, your other cousin might be like, I did no phone, no electricity, no TV, and I never turned on a light, nothing. People will be like, oh, wow, you're religious. You're very religious. It's a marker of your religiosity. I mean, that sounds like taken in a negative connotation, and I don't even mean it in a negative connotation of saying religiosity. That was one of the bigger shocks. Every community, every religious faction, even if it's the same religion, but different components of the religion, they have their own perspective of what being super religious is. So that was something that was very, very interesting to me. Number 6 on the list, this is kind of a minor one, their love of instant coffee. Now, yeah, instant coffee Americans, did you hear that? They love instant coffee. Like, they actually like it. When they have other options, some actually choose the instant over brewing their own coffee. I don't know if this comes from the war, but I know a lot of people do, Turkish coffee when they're out. And some people even have like a little thing where you brew your own coffee when you're out on duty or whatever. But to be fair to them, the instant coffee here is like way better than the instant coffee in America. The instant coffee in America, generally the more popular ones, taste like garbage. So I actually can kind of see it. Even if you have all of these coffee options, you're going to choose instant coffee. It's kind of disgusting. But number 7 on the list, they have a lot of piercings. Now, they don't all have piercings, but I would say I've seen on average more people have piercings than I would on average in America. And they got this ear piercing like right here. It goes right here. I think it's disgusting. I don't like it. It's not attractive to me. This is a cultural thing. I don't know if any Americans would consider getting this part of their ear pierced. I've seen a straight dude with his nipple pierced. Hey man, to each, actually maybe he's not straight. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, they like the piercing, especially this one. This one was what I'm shocked. This, based off the title of the show, this is what I was genuinely shocked about. The one that goes here, like right here. Number 8, I was genuinely shocked, and I gotta keep it 100, how left the left is here. Very left. You would think because of the existential threats that Israel has, you wouldn't have this borderline self-hatred. Many leftists have this hatred of their country, and you would think, this is the only Jewish country. Why would you do anything to undermine it? Why would you do anything to weaken it? There are people that genuinely criticize it to the point where it borders on treason. And even at some point, I believe recently, they had a member of their Knesset actually be on temporary leave because of his remarks were actually treasonous. This is something that is very odd. And there have been spies, especially also, even throughout the war that's happening right now, spies that have been paid by outside entities. Maybe many Israelis don't know, like, hey, dude, this is it. This is the only country for you. Like, this is it. There are other places you can go. I'm just letting you know. Sometimes the grass ain't greener on the other side. Protect this country, respect this country, and fight for it, and don't do anything to undermine it, is my opinion. Okay, number 7. This is something that is very important to me. How clean the food is compared to American food. Now, you got other countries that have fresh ingredients, beautiful food, but compared to America, Israel food is very clean. The Mediterranean diet is very healthy for you. I think because of where Israel is located, they've been able to essentially create a way to grow food. You got drip irrigation that is, notorious here. You have desalination technology so that they have water to water the crops. And many of the early settlers, they were just gardening. They were in kibbutzes. They were working the land, developing it. So there's definitely a agricultural fervor here to make your own food, to live off of the land. So that's something that makes sense as to why the food is so fresh. It's not being shipped from different part of the world, from so far away. But the issue with that is, and this is something else, that seasonality is actually a thing here. So for example, I believe I haven't had blueberries, and I love blueberries, and I hate the fact that I haven't found any blueberries. Maybe any Israelis can comment down below. So if something's not in season, it's not in season. You're out of luck. And the avocados are not good. This was supposed to be a positive aspect of the food here, but I'm kind of making it a negative. Number 10, one of the most interesting aspects of living in Israel is how different Tel Aviv is from the rest rest of the country. You got people that come to Israel, they come to Tel Aviv, which is a great city, which is a beautiful city, but they don't actually tap into the small towns, the medium-sized towns, even Haifa, which is a huge town, but it's up in the north. Obviously Jerusalem, a lot of people have been to Jerusalem. They usually do the Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, but the everyday cities here are incredible. They have these small communities, even the not so small ones. You got Ashdod, you got Netanya. And what's fascinating is everything's built up, right? So you might have, this town that might seem small. It might have, 30, 40,000 people. Tel Aviv, I would say, is more of the Americanized version of Israel. It is more of the westernized version of Israel, combined with the Middle East, combined with obviously being in Israel, creates a really cool culture. But please, when you come out here, try to find a town you're not too familiar with, maybe you don't know, and check it out. Obviously do a little bit of due diligence. You don't want to be going into like some crazy area. The people in the main parts of the country, the everyday people, right? Beautiful people, just living their lives, trying to work, trying to, develop their family, great family restaurants. And this is one of the things I like to do when I travel anywhere. I not only go to the main cities, I like to go to the smaller towns. Sometimes the smaller towns, less tourists. What is not normal to me is now starting to become normal because I've been here almost 2 years. So I wanted to make sure I did this before I got numb to a lot of the things. And I bet when I go to America now, things are going to seem way different. So thanks for making it this far. I'm out. Peace.